On today's show, it was a failed comeback last night for the Ottawa Senators.
And we head to Italy for a chat with friend of the show, Claire Hanna.
This is Brady Kachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if that bet wins. Today is Wednesday, February 4th, and Pilsy, the NHL trade freeze goes into effect in a matter of hours. Do you think we'll see any moves by any teams, maybe even the Ottawa Senators?
No and no is the answer. I mean, if we did, I think it would be maybe more of a minor move, but I don't anticipate any big trades are going to happen here. And from what Elliot Friedman's kind of pointing at, it doesn't seem like teams are ready to pull the trigger on a big deal just yet.
Well, it sounds like Steve Staios continues to be active, contemplating, window shopping, if you will, and he wants to improve this team. That's what the insiders are saying, and Elliot Friedman did go on Sportsnet Fan 590 yesterday and clarified his comments about David Price. We were just confused. Like, is it the magnitude of the trade? Seems like it was more that the underlying numbers for the Blue Jays were really good in 2015, but they were far out from a position to be buying with the big dogs. And they said, no, we believe in this team. We're going to add to it. And they went on a pretty fun run after that. So I don't know why he thought a hockey podcast audience would understand a baseball reference from 11 years ago in that term. But I do get what the parallels are after he explained it.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone's on the Jays bandwagon now. So maybe he thought we're all just reading history about the Jays over the past decade and farther. But yeah, that's when you explain it like that, that's interesting. I don't know if that's the right move, unfortunately, but it depends on the guy. Like Mackenzie Weegar, right shot defenseman, that could be the missing piece. And if you're looking at making a move like that, I could be down for it. But if it's a forward or a goalie, I don't know if now or this year or this is the right team to be making that push in.
Well, I need to find out, and this should be some prep. Maybe I'll get for you tomorrow, but how many more back-to-backs are there for the Senators? Because like they can't, if they're in a push down the stretch, I can't have James Reimer be the guy to make or break the season.
I mean, okay, here we'll do it live.
Oh,
one, two. One of them we're going to, Ross. That's the March one.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. 3 in March.
Okay, and then maybe one more in April.
5. There's 5. Okay. So I think I'm okay if Reimer plays 5 more games.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. 5 is probably the high end that I'm comfortable with. Because look, this isn't a roast Reimer session, even though he had a 777 save percentage last night. And his last 3 games have come against elite teams. Arguably could be a Stanley Cup final preview. The Colorado Avalanche, who he beat, and the Carolina Hurricanes, who he's now lost to twice. But high glove is an issue, and the more tape that gets out there, the more guys are going to start shooting high glove. He was out far challenging on Jordan Staal. There were a million problems on that play, and we've covered them in depth last night on the postcast. It was a god-awful change. Everyone on the ice needs to take responsibility. Dylan Cousins not getting the puck in deep. Jordan Spence bailing out on his side coverage, weak side coverage, and that ends up being the breakaway play. And it's just unfortunate. But there was no saves last night where I was like, hell yeah. Like, our goalie got us one. And I probably did that 7 or 8 times for old Brandon Bussey down at the other end.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I typically am a goalie hugger, as Noodles would say. And I implore everyone to be like, hey, you got to go look at the goals. Is this one you can really blame on him, etc.? But you also need to find a way to save one a game that you're not expected to save, even if it's a great chance by a great player. And if it went in, you wouldn't be upset about it. But you do have to find ways to just get in front of one. And he wasn't able to do that last night. And ultimately, it's a 1-goal game that the Ottawa Senators lose in regulation. You don't get any points. And now I know it's just one game, and it seems like this is really bringing us down, Ross. But when the rest of the teams continue to win, and we were gaining, and then you stall out like this, it's disappointing.
Stall out? Did you do that on purpose?
No, I actually didn't. Wow.
Nice.
The bussy is stalled out for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, but it's got to go back into overdrive tomorrow against the Philadelphia Flyers, as you mentioned Noodles earlier on in the show. But that game going into the break, just like for mental health reasons for this show, for one, we want to be feeling good going into an extended time without Sens hockey, but we also look at the standings and it's relentless in the Eastern Conference. I saw a stat that showed that at this time last season, the Senators had 62 points and were like, I think 1 point out or right around the cutoff to make playoffs. They got 61 points, 1 point less than last season, yet they find themselves 7 points out of a playoff spot with no games in hand. It's a big hill to climb, with Boston playing as well as they have over the last month or two even. And Ottawa's just sitting in a situation. And why I brought up the trades right off the top of the show is that it might be teetering on too little too late if you wait until the March deadline. And I get there's only like 4 games between now and then, even though it seems so far away. It'll be a month this Friday that the NHL trade deadline happens, not trade freeze for the Olympics, but the deadline. And they come out of the break and they play, 4 more games right before it. They're all going to be road games outside of the first game back, which is Detroit. They're then going to Toronto, Edmonton, Calgary. So it'll be a little Canadiana leading up to the deadline, and they're going to be out west on deadline day. I don't know how that affects it. If you're looking at history with Steve Stamkos, it actually affects it a lot because their first deadline, they were out west. And all they did was send Tarasenko to go win a cup in Florida for 2 third-round picks. Last year, they were at the friendly confines of the Canadian Tire Center, and Steve Stamkos was among the most active general managers in the National Hockey League. Sure, there's other parts of the situation, being a seller versus being a buyer, yada, yada, yada. But I think that I speak for a lot of Sens fans that are just kind of like, we're sick and tired of hearing that he's active, but he's not active. He hasn't made a substantial addition since the trade deadline last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be how great the war room is in Ottawa, Ross. We've seen pictures, and it's when you're in that room, you're ready to make deals. So let's see if that happens this deadline. But he mentioned that first trade deadline, how you're trying to get deals done, you can't really get anything done. And Tarasenko was done a couple days before the deadline. Even it wasn't
the
on
market will
day.
Dictate, right? That was his big thing. The market will dictate how active we are.
Yeah, that's not where I'm going with this, though. But he mentioned that, look, he had a lot of conversations with Boston about acquiring Linus Ullmark, and they didn't get it done. But then later on, they're able to get that deal done. And he kind of referenced like, hey, I know you want to get it done on deadline, the earlier the better, but we weren't able to do it. But we were able to build off the work that I put in and then get that deal done later. And I don't know, maybe that just sounds like classic general manager speak, or trying to like pat himself on the back for getting a deal done later than he wanted. But that is the way that these things go. Like, not everything is going to happen immediately, and you can't just give in to panic and be like, oh my God, we got to do something now. I'll throw in another piece or another player. And then you've kind of lost a bit of your leverage and integrity moving forward. If general managers know, I just got to hold out on him and he's going to up the offer here. So it's a delicate game making trades in this league. And when you don't have leverage, like the Ottawa Senators don't have leverage, puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah, the only thing I'm holding on hope for is that Linus Ullmark came back and looked fantastic in his first 2 games back, and that really has been the Achilles heel. And we've already closed the book on James Reimer last night, saying you didn't get that extra save, but it's not like he was allowing goals from the blue line or the red line, and it wasn't like a complete gong show in the crease, but the numbers are what they are. And you're not going to win many, if any, hockey games with a 77 save percentage. I think it's honestly...
You're going to say 14 saves.
Unless you're Linus. But it also just speaks to the fact of how close this team is to being elite. You just had 77% save percentage against a team that averages 30 shots per game on the season. You hold them to 17. or 18, and you're right there to win a hockey game. Like that's what's frustrating, that we're not getting the additions now, because every time that they're that close to winning a game and leave 2 points on the table, it's just incredible. The mountain's getting taller every single time.
Yeah, and that's what happens when your division rises, right? Like a rising tide raises all ships. Like last year,
going anywhere. It's not going anywhere.
But that's the difference between this year and last year, right? You still had those teams that were struggling to figure it out in the Bostons, in the Buffaloes, right? And you were able to get ahead of them, but that's not the case this year, and you can't sit there feeling sorry for yourself.
Nope, but you can hope that action occurs that can help Ottawa get over the hump. On the other side, we've got Claire Hanna. Great interview with Claire. She's in an awesome mood, as always, but especially being over there in Milano Cortina for the Olympic Games. She'll be covering women's hockey, among other things. We'll get into that. Plus, of course, we get into her preparation and thoughts throughout her exclusive interview with Linus Ullmark from a couple weeks ago, where he opened up completely about his leave of absence. So that's coming up on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same game parlay, this is the game everyone's been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to final whistle. And Olympics are coming up. I'm looking at the odds on 2026 Olympic men's ice hockey team futures. Team Canada, the favorite, plus 120. U.S., plus 210, Sweden plus 600, Finland plus 1100, Czechia plus 1600, and you can go with Switzerland at plus 3,300 as well. So if you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count, because after all, the Super Bowl, when it's done, the season's over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at GLEBE Central Pub. It's the #1 spot to check out the game in Ottawa. It's also a great spot to bring friends for a good time and a long time. When you head to the GLEBE Central Pub, you know there's going to be great food, awesome drinks, an atmosphere to match, and they got something going on almost every night of the week. Today's Wednesday, which means tonight is open mic night at the GLEBE Central Pub. You can go there and play, sing, or just kick back and listen. It's the best way to celebrate the middle of the week. Tomorrow, cheap tacos. Every Saturday night, live music with no cover ever. Plus, keep your eye out, because those February shuttle tickets for the game against the Detroit Red Wings will be going fast. $18 round trip to and from the CTC. We cannot wait to get our boots on the bus in the March 14, 15 back-to-back against Anaheim and San Jose. We're fired up for that one. And the only place that we're going to go is the GLEBE Central Pub. So shout out to the GCP, where the vibes are free. Head there at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. All right, we now welcome a very, very, very good friend of the show. Claire Hanna joins us all the way from Milano, Italia. It's a third country she's joined us from. Always a pleasure to have you on. Claire, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for we had a small window and we found it and we're doing it.
For you, I would climb through fire and rain. We really appreciate having you on. My first question is, how are you in two places at one time? I could have sworn you're at the Canadian Tire Center interviewing Julian McKenzie last night.
You wouldn't be wrong. We just have a really good transportation system to get us over here. There was a direct flight, if you can believe it. Ottawa, Canada. Actually, I should say Canada to Milano. No, we've got some magic behind the scenes. I can't tell the secrets.
Yeah, keep it a secret. But a secret that we want you to reveal, that everyone wants to know: have you been to the rink, and is it ready, or is it in complete shambles in the Olympics?
Well, little known fact, there are 2 Olympic hockey rinks.
Oh.
And I have been to one. I've been to Row Ice Hockey Arena,
Okay.
which is going to be used mostly for women, but also for the men. And that's the only arena I've been to. It looks great.
Okay.
We were there with Czechia when Czechia was practicing, the women's team, head coach Carla McLeod, 2-time Olympic gold medalist with Canada. And it was their 3rd time on the ice. I talked with one of the players, Kalti, who was the first overall draft pick, Kristina Kaltinkova. And I was just like, what's it like? She's like, honestly, like some people are mentioning it feels a little warm out there. And that some people, she said, feel like the ice is a little soft, but she's like, I can't tell. I don't even think about that kind of stuff. I think it's great. But she was saying that she likes to be cooler body-wise when she's playing. And she said, oh man, like when this place is full of people, it might be an issue. But then I also heard from some people who have been at the arena as it's been being built that it was freezing other days. So I think that they're just kind of like working on the temperature. But I gotta say, I thought it looked beautiful. All the seats were great. There was a couple of locations where there was like a bit of a pillar in front. But at the same time, those were locations that were going to be used, in different capacities.
Love that. And we're so fired up to get your coverage here going on the Olympics. Is this your first time covering the Olympics? You did the last one too, didn't you?
Okay, so this is officially my 4th time covering the Olympics. But this will be my first time employed at an Olympics.
Nice.
But this is actually my 4th Olympics that I've been to.
But didn't last Olympics you do it from like the CBC car wash where they just have the little play-by-play huts?
Yes. So here's what's confusing. So my first Olympics with the CBC was Tokyo 2021. Remember the COVID year? Then I also covered Beijing from Toronto. I also covered Paris from Toronto. So this is my 4th Olympics working, but my first Olympics at the actual Olympic Games being paid. But I was at the Vancouver Olympics as a fan because I was at UBC. I was at the London Olympics. I was trying to qualify for those games as a volleyball athlete. And then we didn't qualify, but then I went as a volunteer with the Olympic Committee. And then I was in Sochi as well with the Olympic Committee. So I've kind of had a crazy Olympic journey.
Yeah, there's no Olympics without Claire Hanna at this point. So I need to reintroduce you as 3-time national champion with the UBC Thunderbirds volleyball and 4-time Olympian Claire Hanna.
4-time media Olympian.
Okay. So you don't get the Olympic ring tattoos for the media?
I mean, I guess you want me to do it with like a microphone through the middle?
Yeah. Or you get the rings and then under in all caps, it just says media.
Or like a ring toss. Like you have the microphone and then you just have the rings tossed in the microphone.
I like that. That's fun.
I like that a lot. So you got a great crew there. I saw you're with a couple other friends of the show recently with Cheryl Pounder and Kenzie Lalonde. What's the setup that you guys have? Are you going to be in one place the whole time during the Olympics?
So yeah, the trio, I'm first of all super pumped about our trio. We're also going to have Haley Salvian and Cassie Campbell as analysts and also reporters, let's call it. And then we've got some great producers. We are going to be in 2 locations. As I mentioned, Row Arena, but then we're also going to be at the other ice hockey arena, which is the one that's had a lot of hype around it, whether it's going to be ready or not. That one has a seating capacity, I believe, of 16,000. I have not been to that one. And that's the one that's getting a lot of attention. Now, both of these locations, I think, are an hour and 20 minutes away from each other. And so we're just trying to figure out transportation, but we'll never be going back and forth between the 2 arenas in one day. We're either going to be at one arena or the other. I know that Canada versus USA women's hockey game in the preliminary round will be at the larger hockey arena. And then the semifinals and finals will also be there, as well as 2 quarterfinals, I think. So yeah, we're going to be jostling a bit between both arenas, but just in Milano.
All right. Speaking of women's hockey, a little birdie told me you had a great story about the women's hockey finals in 2014.
Why are you calling me a little birdie?
Okay, first of all, do you guys remember? Do you remember that game?
I'm assuming Marie-Philippe Poulin scored the winner.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a pretty safe bet. But seriously, do you guys remember that game? Canada was down 3-1 with 3 minutes and 29 seconds left in the third period. Okay. Damn. So I was volunteering at the Canada Olympic House, and they were giving free tickets away to the women's final, but they weren't going to give them out until, and this is where there's a little weird story, the bobsled athletes, Heather Moyse and Kaylee Humphreys, had their gold medal celebration because they'd won gold earlier in the day. Now, they had this celebration at the Olympic House. They didn't want everybody to leave and watch this hockey game because then there'd be nobody celebrating their gold medal. So Heather Moyse and Kaylee Humphreys were actually so cool. They're like, hey, we're going to do a quick speech because the women's hockey game's on and we know what people want to watch that. So at the end of the second period, they gave us all these tickets. Well, it was 3-1. And so many people were like, we're not going to go. We're not going to go.
What?
And I'm like, give me it. I know. And I'm like, give me a ticket. I am hustling over there. It was like a 10-minute walk. And so I get over there just as the third period starting and Canada's down 3-1. Well, I convinced all the Russians in my section, and we were right behind the American goalie, whose last name was Vetter. Okay. And I'm like, you guys, let's start chanting Vetter, Vetter. So we start chanting this. All of a sudden, Brianne Jenner scores, and it's 3-2. One goal down. Well, a couple seconds later, Marie-Philippe Poulin ties it up. And sorry, before that, in between that was when Canada or the US shot the puck down on Canada's empty net and it hit the post. So that would have like sealed it for the United States, but they didn't score. And then Marie-Philippe Poulin ties it up, goes to overtime. Marie-Philippe Poulin scores, they win.
Unreal.
Like one of the most amazing hockey games I've ever been to in my life. I just couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe they came back to win. And then all those people who didn't take the tickets because they were like, the game's over. I'm like, are you even able to sleep to this day?
Yeah, that's tough. Hey, what a moment to be there for. That's awesome. I'm glad you went. You got to be at as many events as you can. Are you going to be able to go? I know you're working quite a bit, but are you going to be able to sneak around and be a fan at any event?
Great question. Not sure. We'll have to kind of see how the schedule focuses up on, but I'm not even really, planning to, because we're so focused on our women's hockey coverage. So we'll see how it works out. But I am actually going to stay till the end of the games so I can kind of like have some fun time. And women's hockey final is the Thursday, and then there's still 3 days left of events. So I'll check something out. I just don't know what yet.
Oh, that's awesome. We're so jealous. And we know that you're going to be all over it at Claire Hanna. Is that how you pronounce it? Or do you do Claire?
No, Claire Hanna.
All your social media, obviously, and we're looking forward to that. Big TikTok star too. You put together those videos real nice, and people can get a tour of the rink that you've been to so far in that feed. Claire, we have to bring up before we let you go your very emotional interview with Linus Ullmark that you had the opportunity to do a couple of weeks ago. What was the preparation like for you going into that interview?
Ooh, it was delicate because I just didn't know the state he was in, and we didn't know anything, right? So it was just about, okay, let's just ask the questions that need to be asked. And I wanted to make sure that we could ask anything, because at the time there was all these rumors swirling and it was just awful. And just the circumstances were just awful. But we didn't know it was because of mental health reasons either. Right. So we just went through questions that would be appropriate. And also it was just going to be, I remember planning to just listen a lot to make sure that we could hear what he was saying and ask the proper follow-ups. And we had a little chit chat before the interview started when the cameras were off. And I just said, hey, I'm going to ask you why you took the leave, just to not throw you off guard. He's like, yep, I figured you would. But it was, I think, as you guys probably had the same experience, like when I was in the middle of that interview, it was really tough hearing about the struggles he was going through. And you could just tell he was in a really bad place. And we don't care about the athlete sometimes. You just really feel for a human being who is struggling and needs help. And I hope he's getting it. I hope he's, I know he's been playing, but I hope he's in a better place, because sometimes things are really personal, and to be able to talk about that really vulnerably to what he probably knew was going to be a big audience. I give him so much credit for that. That's a really powerful conversation. And the amount of messages that I've received. I can't even imagine how many he's received, or the Senators. But they've been really powerful. I know there was somebody who even started a donation, like $35 to mental health in honor of Linus Ullmark. Yeah, you guys started that?
At least I think so.
Yeah.
You guys are cool. That's super cool. But there was
I was like, wow, that's a really good idea. You blew our cover.
Yeah. But like, those aren't conversations we hear very often from people, especially men, especially male athletes.
Yep.
So to hear it from him, I think carried a lot of weight, and I just hope he's okay.
Well, that's why I was asking about the preparation going into it, because clearly you were kind of blind by what was going on. So how many of your questions were prepared, and were any of them just off a feel from what he was answering to you? Because, I mean, you had a lot of time to sit and listen there at the beginning. I think his first answer was about 2.5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm. I went in with, I think it was 6 or 7 prepared questions. And after the first question, I think I was like, okay, we're going to go a bit off script here. And I think I probably stuck with 3. I'd say 50% were planned, 50% were just based on what he said.
Well, credit to you, because you did a really good job allowing him to speak his mind and let him kind of dive into all the things he needed to and get his emotions out. So you did a great job, but they couldn't have picked someone better for that. So well done there. And he's got 2 wins in 2 games back. So that's great to see. Everyone's so happy for Linus. Final question for me, Claire. I'll lighten it up a little bit as we leave here. What has been the best meal you've had so far? I mean, you're in Italy. The food's got to be good. I got to ask.
Well, we're only just getting started. But
or maybe I'll ask, what is a meal you're looking forward to just something like that?
Okay, well, I will say the best meal I've had so far, I actually flew into Rome to take a train to Milan. It was a bit cheaper that way, but I had the intention of just spending the afternoon in Rome. I've been there before, and there's a restaurant there that I cannot forget. And I think about it. It's like my Roman Empire, no pun intended.
Nice. When in Rome.
It's called Il Vero Alfredo. Jamie McLennan recommended it to me 6 years ago when I was going to Rome.
I mean, if Noodles is recommending an Alfredo place, you gotta go.
Well, Noodles is recommending Noodles, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is the place where they invented fettuccine Alfredo.
Okay.
And I'm not a big fettuccine Alfredo girly, but I was like, well, I'll try it. Like, I was kind of not super hyped on it the first time. It changed my brain chemistry. It was like nothing I've ever tasted before. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going back there for a quick lunch. So I got off the flight, took the train into the middle of Rome, and I got on the subway and I went straight there.
I'm starving now. Fettuccine Alfredo for lunch, maybe?
Ask Noodles about it next time he's on. I know he's been a guest a lot of times. Just ask
friend of the show. And last time he was on, he got his room service in the middle of the interview. So we know he likes to eat.
He is a food connoisseur. You know what? Sneaky. He's a foodie. He knows a lot of places around the world that are delicious.
Love it. Claire, final question for me. Your power rankings, top 3 Winter Olympic sports.
Women's hockey.
Okay. Are we climbing up, or are we starting? Is that your 1-1?
Oh yeah, we're gonna go down. Let's start with hockey.
Okay.
And we're doing Olympic sports, not Paralympic.
No, just with because the Paralympics is right after, right?
Okay, yeah, but I'll give an honorary mention as my
perfect
Paralympic sport. Then I'm gonna go with figure skating.
Okay, that's what my wife said she was most looking forward to.
Yeah, so solid.
Pairs or single or
any of that. You never. Okay. So here's the thing: you don't even need to know the athletes. You go, you're always going to be entertained. You don't need to know a thing about the sport. It's just beautiful. It's artistic. It's incredible. Third, this is going to be a little different. I need to watch it on TV. I don't want to watch it in real life. Biathlon.
Oh, that's sweet. That's the one where they shoot and cross-country ski?
Yeah, it's like a speed race, but then you also have to have the accuracy of shooting. And
while you're exhausted.
And then if you miss, you have like extra laps to do. And it's just like you see people collapse. Like, I just love it. It's cool. And then my honorary mention for my favorite Paralympic sport, sledge hockey. Crazy, unreal, physical, wild. Ruthless.
That's awesome. That's a good honorable mention. I'm excited to watch that as well. And I mean, I don't know how you didn't have any skiing though in yours.
Well, I would have said
skiing.
Right, but downhill.
Like but ski cross. You know the 4 people. Mariel Thompson, who's she's the flag bearer, along with Michaela Kingsbury. Mariel Thompson won gold, but she's also won, I think, a silver in there as well. She is insane, and it's like you are battling 4 people as you're going down, trying to shove them out, and you're trying to be speedy. It's crazy.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, hey, enjoy the games, Claire. You're a 4-time Olympian, and we cannot wait to see all your great coverage you'll provide for us on social media and all across the TSN platforms. 7-time recurring guests now have joined us from 3 different countries. Canada, of course, even though you bailed on us in person. We remember. Salt Lake City. And now Italy. Remember, you're like, you guys are on the other side of the building. I got to go.
In real life, I was like, I've never bailed on the show. You didn't come to me. You got to come to my studio.
We had to set up. We had
Ross, she's an Olympian. We have to come to her.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Hey, we won't hold it against you. We appreciate you, Claire. Say hi to everyone for us, and we really look forward to seeing all the great coverage and bring home some gold medals for Canada.
Thanks, you guys.
Stick taps to Claire for joining us. Really fun conversation with her, and we look forward to her coverage on the Olympic Games. Pillsy, we got a full game day preview tomorrow. Senators wrapping up their pre-Olympic schedule against the Philadelphia Flyers. But do you have any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts is we had an update to Team Canada's roster. Sam Bennett was going to end up on this team one way or another. Even if it wasn't right away, it's unfortunate that it comes at the cost of Anthony Cirelli being injured, a guy that John Cooper obviously knows and trusts a lot to play in big situations and big games. But I think everyone just had a feeling, Ross, that Sam Bennett was going to be on Team Canada. Talk about a guy that can show up in big games and big moments. He is the guy. So it's unfortunate. It's because of an injury, but I think it's going to be really nice to see him back in a Team Canada jersey.
Hey, good on Team Canada, able to sneak in the reigning Conn Smythe Trophy winner as Stanley Cup playoff MVP. Nice to see they could sneak him onto the Olympic roster. Hey, also the guy who scored the game-tying goal in the championship game at 4 Nations last year. This guy is an absolute lunatic out there, and I think he's going to really have to toe that line at the Olympics. But I want the Canadian loons out there. You like that? The loons, the lunatics. I want Sam Bennett with Brad Marchand and Tom Wilson. That's my 4th line.
That'd be fun.
It'd be fun. And hey, what do you think? We're obviously going to wait and see, but it's going to be 50% NHL referees and 50% IIHF referees. I'm very curious to know, where's the line in the rules? Because the IIHF, they're, let's say, old school or very set in their ways.
Yep.
But they had to have seen what the NHL rules in international play at the 4 Nations and how it affected the emotion and the intensity and everything else. They already caved and they went with the smaller rink. They actually went a step further because they can't measure the rink properly. So it's actually going to be 3 feet smaller. But no longer are you playing on a figure skating ice surface where it's a mile wide and 3 kilometers long. So I'm very curious to know how this tournament's going to be refereed. And I wonder if Team Canada was asking about how it was going to be refereed before deciding that Sam Bennett was going to be the guy to come in. Hey, you guys call goalie interference?
What if it's accidentally on purpose?
Yeah, nobody's accidentally on purpose better than Sam Bennett. And just so everyone knows, we are going full Team Canada mode on Friday. This is going to be Locked On Team Canada with a little sprinkle of Locked On. Is it international Sens, I guess? Because they're not, I mean, they're literally Sens abroad. So maybe we just keep that
no, not just a little bit, Ross. We're going to be covering all the Sens players at the Olympics, but we bleed red and white. It's the Olympics. Best on best.
And black, apparently, because the Maple Leaf is apparently black.
Yes, I got to add that in there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, Elliot Friedman was saying, Ross, that at the start of this, in the offseason this year, the IIHF refs and NHL refs got together and had a conference being all right, how are we going to make this work? What are we thinking about these plays? How are we going to call this? How are we going to collaborate in this tournament? Because it can't just be the NHL guys being like, nope, this is the call. And then the IIHF guys being like, nope, this is not the call. And okay, what do you do? So they have to find some common ground.
On Friday, we're going to each put our projected lineups. Like if we were the head coach, if we were John Cooper, how would we organize this lineup? The one thing that I need to see is Macklin Celebrini in a top 6 role. I don't care that he's 19 years old. He needs to play, and that's going to be a big indicator for me. Like if they just go based on veteran and tenure at the National Hockey League level, and Celebrini's like the 13th forward that gets a few shifts here or there, I'm going to have a big problem with that because he's probably one of their best 5 forwards right now. And I know the bar is incredibly high, but like I need to see him playing with either Sid, McDavid, or McKinnon.
Yeah.
Or multiple of those players.
Yeah.
That's fine. Who do you think the centers are going to be on the team? That's the biggest question because they've got, I think, out of 14 forwards, they've got like 8 or 9 centermen.
I have no clue. I'd have to go back and look at other international teams, whether it's World Cup, Four Nation face-off, like who of the centermen were they comfortable sliding over to the wing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you look at it, I can tell you the in the final of the Four Nations face-off, it was I believe, do I have it here? No, I don't have it up quickly enough, but I want to say that McKinnon played on the wing with Crosby.
Yeah, I feel like
Crosby's playing center.
Crosby's probably going to play center. Yeah.
And McDavid's playing center.
Yeah.
But is Crosby your third line center?
I don't know. Yeah.
You could easily have McDavid, McKinnon, Crosby as your top 3. Nobody else, I'm including USA, Sweden, like nobody has depth like that down the middle.
Not even close.
No, because Austin Matthews is your top line center. If they name him the captain, they probably will.
Yeah.
Because they were so close. If Matthews had his guy in the slot, maybe they'd still be playing.
Oops.
Whoops. And Mitchie Marner getting the assist on that one. Yeah. That was awesome. I honestly think Canada is head and shoulders above any team.
It's I was reading the FanDuel odds, Ross. It's plus 120 for Canada, plus 210 for Team USA.
Still plus money for Canada. I'm all over that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so fired up for this one, and we hope you are too. This hasn't happened in 12 years.
Yeah,
NHLers at the Olympics, and the times aren't even that bad. Canada's schedule for this tournament: 10:40 a.m. a week from tomorrow. Canada, Czechia. That's how soon this is coming up. Then 3:10 Eastern on Friday against Switzerland, the day off, and then 10:40 a.m. on Saturday morning. That same day, that Saturday, the final round robin day, is also going to feature Brady Tkachuk and Jake Sanderson versus Tim Stützle. All the Sens lottery boys playing at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. So it's just a beautiful schedule. That's going to be the first Sunday without NFL football. It's the week after the Super Bowl. Like, just perfect timing for a nice little doubleheader at the Olympics. The gold medal game will take place at 8:10 a.m. on February 22nd, Sunday. That's where I got the S from there. So we're going to be dialed into that. We'll get our projected lines on Friday for that. But we got a big Sens game. Just like we don't want Brady, Jake, Timmy, Lars Eller, Nicholas Mattenpel. Man, maybe. Final thoughts from me. Will Jordan Spence be scratched tomorrow?
No.
An accountability thing.
No.
Okay. That was an egregious mistake. It's Dylan Cousins not getting it deep and just kind of lackadaisically putting the puck to the other team's blue line, and it's on Jordan Spence. Those are the two guys most at fault for that. I saw someone saying, what's Brady doing? Like, Brady's the left winger. He is the guy that should be changing on that play.
Yeah. He's already at the bench, and that play was coming to the right side anyway. So
the Brady Tkachuk haters are outrageous to me. This guy's been playing some good hockey the last couple of weeks. Anyways, need a win tomorrow. Win tomorrow. Thanks so much for Claire Hanna joining the show. We really appreciate her always. You're going to enjoy her coverage over at the Olympics and then back in the saddle in Ottawa, covering the Ottawa Senators push to the trade deadline and beyond, as there are 27 games left in the season for the Ottawa Senators now, and they find themselves 7 points back of a playoff spot. Okay. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Thanks so much for liking, watching, listening, and engaging here at LOSP. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.